All right, guys, welcome to the Swing Collective episode 10. How's everybody doing?
Good,
Good, man.
good.
Feels like the matinee episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
and we got a couple people missing, but we're busy schedule this week, and we're making do with what we got. So, I think we have some pretty interesting topics to talk about, and um, as always, let's start off with what's going on in our lives and our golf. You know, our golf game at the moment. Bird, how's it looking for you? I know you just
man.
got back from a trip.
It just got back is the right word, man. I thought I was going to run into you at our regional airport here, but you
Yeah.
must have got in just a little before me. I've been home for mere moments before we jumped on together, fellas. Um, I was out for the last uh, couple days playing. I don't know about its current ranking, but a couple years ago it was a top 50 course in the nation. Talking about Victoria National out in Newburgh, Indiana. Went out there with a couple friends on a personal round. One of those friends, a fellow member of the collective, Mr. B Smooth, was there, and B Smooth was doing B Smooth things, playing good golf, looking like $1 million, and waxing philosophical. So that's the guarantee you get when you're friends with B. But that was it was a good time. It was wet. We had a light rain fall through our round on Sunday, and we played. Get ready for this, collective. We played 45 holes of golf yesterday. We played 18 holes straight up. We played 18 holes of a two-man scramble, and we played 18 or 9 holes of a skins game. 45 holes total. And by the time we got in the van and made it to dinner, getting out of the van was a little difficult. The bones were starting to seize up a little bit, so I'm a little sore. Um,
Brother, I'm in pain listening to you talk about that.
and it was a tale of 2 days. Sunday, I didn't feel well. My back was kind of bothering me. I think it had something to do with flying out there, jumping in a rental car, jumping onto the practice range, and start swinging. And I am not the member of the collective that you want to tell you about pregame stretching and preparedness because I have not done what I should do there and will start because I tweaked my back on the range, affected Sunday. Just couldn't rotate, wasn't hitting the ball well. Monday, yesterday, as we record this, it was fantastic. We had a great round. Still wet, still cold. And the feels like temperature on Sunday was 38 degrees. I thought winter was over, man, and we were out there freezing to death. But
Apparently not in Indiana.
oh, I'm telling you, but we played well yesterday. Um, B is a fantastic guy. We can all attest to that on the collective and our listeners on Apple and YouTube. So it's always good to play around with him. Uh, so it was hard to say goodbye. What feels like about 3 hours ago, as I flew out of Evansville by way of Charlotte. But uh, that's it, man. So now on deck for me is get some swings in this week and try to get a round in this weekend because Izzy, you and I have some business to take care of next Monday. You want to tell everybody what's going on with that?
Yeah, we mentioned it last podcast, but we're playing in the Four Play King Classic. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Tournament in Charlotte. It's at Piper Glen,
Yes, sir.
UPC Piper Glen, and I'm pretty excited about that. I'm excited to go there and play. Less excited about the current state of my golf game. I have been the epitome of a pendulum. I know I talked a couple episodes ago about felt really good at the range, felt really good on the course, and even on the course, I feel good still. I'm shooting in the high 80s to mid 80s if I play well, and low 90s on a bad day. But um, I had a range session on Thursday last week, and it was as if I had forgotten how to swing a golf club. I could toe it, I could hosel it, I could blade it, but I could not hit the middle of that face. If you had a gun to my head, I wouldn't be here today. It was a testing experience for my confidence and my will to stay out there and hit the whole bucket. But I'm going to try and get another session in or two this week, and another round this weekend, and hopefully I can kind of reset some of those whatever's going on going into Monday and play well on Monday.
I hear you. You kind of gave me a great idea for an episode of Black Mirror, or I don't think they do Hitchcock Presents anymore. But all right, listen to me now, and we're going to have this in the Swing Collective podcast on Apple and YouTube, so no one can take this from us. We start a golf coaching and lessons and instruction business, okay? But here's what we do. Right before your session, we take a member of your family hostage, okay? And every time you shank it, they lose a toe.
Jeez.
I'm saying it'll make people either swing much better or we will be incarcerated.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
That's motivation.
I'm telling you.
That's motivation. I mean, it's true.
Right?
It's not enough if it's just you. Or we could just, if you hit a shank, you lose a toe.
That could work too. I would be 3 toes McGee here talking to you guys after this weekend. But it's like when you walk the course, suddenly you hit the ball a little straighter.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine, your loved ones over there. The tears are rolling. One of us has a machete, and it's hey, that pinky toe, it's on the block. Hit this next one straight. No, what do you think? Has that got legs? Do you think we could probably start a business with that?
I think it's either going to end very good for us or very, very poorly. I think it could end very, very poorly.
So the issue is if either of you is taking the lesson, then the other one of you is on the block.
Right.
Yes.
So
it's hard for me to, the sight of blood and whatnot is not great. I would rather be the person giving the instruction than the person lopping off toes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Noah had an injury this week. We see you're a little wrapped up there, man.
Yes.
You got some golf to talk about here coming up in a couple weeks. But, you sent me unsolicited, bam, take a look at my hand. And I was like, dude, warn somebody, bruh.
Yeah.
Bad, man. Like, I'm having nightmares opening text messages.
Yeah. So my game right now, it's faux spring in the Northeast. We've had maybe one day where it's been over 70 degrees. A lot of rain. Courses haven't been open due to the amount of rain. But yeah, I was going to try to get out to the range, do some things like that. But occupational injury, I have pretty severe road rash on both of my hands. So that's kind of hindering my swing at the moment. But we have a trip coming up to Myrtle Beach next weekend, and based on medical advice and how I'm healing up, I really think I'll be able to play next weekend. So it's a win-win for me because either I go down there and I lose, and I can blame it on the injury, or if I win, it's the greatest comeback ever. So it's really it doesn't hurt my reputation at all. And
Right.
Shout out to Scottie Scheffler. I can come back and win quicker from a hand injury than he can. So Ando is not here for that. So
yeah. Well, I know we're going to get to that in a minute, bro. But that's what I got hit with. Text the other day. The mental games are already starting. He said, this is a win-win deal for me.
you can't lose.
I might have to get 2 gloves like Tommy Gainey. I'd say you will probably play with 2 gloves.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Tommy Gainey's the only pro that I know that wears 2 gloves, although a guy that I played with this weekend, not B, but another one of our group, wore a golf glove and then just like an Under Armour, something to keep his hands warm. And
okay, yeah.
He didn't swing badly, so he might be onto something there. But anyway, I get a text from No, over the weekend, last weekend. He goes, "Will this be the greatest comeback in the history of golf, a la Scottie Scheffler, and I throttle you in 2 weeks?" And then follows it up with, "And if I don't, I just blame it on my injury. So I'm playing with house money right now. I can't lose." And so already trying to get into the head, man. So Very, very interesting.
Well, Noah, how's I guess you haven't really been practicing much because of that, and you
No, I
probably
mean,
won't be for the next week or so because
yeah. I mean, where it's at now, like I definitely could not swing a golf club. I'm not even close, healing wise. But I think given another week, I could, it would be healed up to the point with double glove and maybe even some hand wrapping underneath the glove that I could probably swing. So yeah, I mean, I haven't played in 3 or 4 weeks, so it's just
I like
itching to
your
get out there.
patience.
Yeah, just itching to get
well,
out there. It's just not life is not cooperating with me at the moment. So
Bird, if you lose that, it may be time to hang up the sticks.
Right. Well, you know what you could do is you could lean on, friend, family member, member of the collective, somebody that has a golf simulator to let you get some swings in
yeah,
before we go on that trip to see how it feels. And, I would be happy to help you out. It's $45 an hour.
that's fine. Okay, I'm employed. I make money. We could that could be arranged.
All right, that's right. Now who's in a win-win situation? Yeah, I
Yeah,
might I might lose, but I made so much money before we went down there that funded my trip. So we'll
Nah,
see.
you know how I warm up, hit a couple, walk to the first tee. Where's the first tee and what's the course record? So
Man, Izzy, and this cat, we've played in the past. I don't know if you have anybody like this in your life. Tell us if you do. But we can go out and I could be absolutely putting one on him, beating him like he stole something, and then one good swing on like the fifth hole, and it's like it's on, and he doesn't hit another bad shot the rest of the round. So I've learned with him, you got to keep him down for as long as possible because once he figures it out, that's the end of your day. You have anybody like that?
no, I know people who just are good, and then they're good the whole time, and then you lose.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
We used to have a trophy when I was in Louisiana. We'd play for every weekend, and the trophy was my idea. And at the time of the trophy's creation, we were all roughly in the same spot, my brother and my buddy Billy. And then I didn't win that trophy for a year and a half. It was either one of them, and then I won it, and then I never won it again. I had a crazy week, and in fact, I almost won it a second time, but somehow all three of us went on generational rounds and shot record lows that day. Not just me. So maybe the course was easier that day, just conditions. But yeah, no, I just have people that beat me.
It's rough, man, and I hate when you're playing with somebody that's kind of a friend of yours, and they're just raking the ball. You're like, golly, how do they swing so good? And then they turn around and look at you and go, "This is my fourth round in the last 2 years."
That's my brother. That's my
Yeah,
brother.
yeah, man, it's
It's
not
the
fair,
worst.
right?
He's yeah, and he does that not just in golf, man. Like he does that in video games. Like I get good at things because I put in time, I put in effort, I watch the pros, I study up on what I need to do, I figure out technique, I figure out the ins and outs of how to play correctly, and then I implement all of that learning and training into being good at something. And my brother Josh just exists and then is good at everything, specifically
Yeah,
video games. That's the most annoying thing.
right. It's like they
But
just roll out and put a throttling on you, and you're like, how did this happen?
dude, it's the worst.
Yeah, I get
Speaking
it.
of people who are just good at things, someone was very good this past weekend.
so yeah, so the Byron Nelson, I admittedly I was busy this weekend doing some stuff for work and stuff, so I didn't get to catch all of the tournament. But I caught the last 10, 12 holes. Um, and while yes, Scottie Scheffler did set a 72 hole scoring record, let's pump the brakes a little bit. It was a tournament where there's only two top 20 players. which, really people should be gearing up for the PGA. But yeah, I mean, he set a record, but I feel like it would have been a much better or a much different tournament if there were some big hitters in that in that tournament. So I mean, yes, it was a dominating performance, but I just feel like what's not say he's run away with the rest of the season yet. So
I don't know how I feel about that,
Yeah.
Izzy, because on one hand, you could, I agree with you. No, I mean, you have somebody pushing him on Saturday, then maybe he starts pressing and things change. But then the other side of that coin is when we were all together in that round on Sunday, somebody said, "Hey, how's Scheffler doing? Is he trying to hit the middle of every green, or is he trying to set a record?" So I looked it up when we were out on the course, and I just remember he was 7 under through 11 holes, and I mean that's otherworldly. So it doesn't sound like he, pumped the brakes at all. It wasn't the best round of the day. Best round of the day Sunday went to Jordan Spieth, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about a little later, and I think he was 9 under,
Yeah. 9.
and ended up like fourth place. Think solo fourth. But anyway, back to what I'm saying is, uh, you could make that case, no, but then also it doesn't seem like anybody was going to catch him. I mean, who else is going to go out and set the scoring record, for a 72 hole format?
who else was there
Izzy,
to catch him?
Well, that's the thing. I know that the field wasn't that deep, but I don't think it matters because I can't think of another pro. If we're talking about 2 out of the top 20 not being there, whereas the other 18 weren't. I can't think of another top 20 player and go, they would have shot 32 under. And you could argue that maybe if he had someone better there, like you were saying, Bird pressing him, he had some more pressure on him throughout the week. But even then, he goes out first round. There's no pressure first round. Everyone's just playing their first round. They're just trying to get out there. And he shoots 10 under and shoots the course record. So I don't see anybody doing that either. And Spieth almost, it was so, I was actually watching this on Sunday going, could Spieth do this? Scottie comes in and breaks the course record on Thursday, and Spieth had the opportunity to break Scottie's record on Sunday and just didn't. He just couldn't put everything together. But I see what I know what you're saying in that there wasn't the competition wasn't at the tournament, but even if it was, I don't see anyone else coming close to 31 under.
Yeah.
Even Rory, I just don't see it.
It seems like it was his week, and I know the line is set based on who's there, but I mean, it was plus 280 to win, and like the next guy was like 1800 or something like that. I might
Yeah.
have those numbers wrong, but everyone felt going into that tournament, all right, Scheffler's going to win this one. It's going to be a walkover, and turns out they were right. He
They
had
were right.
9 or 10 stroke lead heading into Sunday. Maybe
Ve-
8.
Vegas knows their numbers.
So Vegas knows. That's why those buildings are so big in Vegas, man. No doubt. But it was a walkover for him, and regardless if you're pro Scottie Scheffler and you feel like he's back, anti, and you're like it was a anticlimactic victory. And I don't know that anybody's anti Scottie Scheffler, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I will say this: at least Phil Mickelson's tweet from 6 weeks ago looks really dumb. In which Phil Mickelson gave us his hot take, and hot take. I don't know if we call them tweets anymore, but you know what I'm saying. On X, Mickelson says, "My hot take: Scheffler doesn't win a tournament before the Ryder Cup." So, only took 6 weeks for that to look really dumb. Usually, it doesn't take Mickelson that long to look and sound dumb, but it took 6 weeks for this one to happen. So, at least we have that, put to rest for sure.
He's a bold man. I'll give him that.
Yeah, and if Ando was here, Ando is taking some much well-deserved time away. He would say, "I told y'all so." So at least for the podcast, Ando will be listening to this later. At least we were here, Ando. You told us so, and it's nice to see Scheffler back in winning form, and uh, it'll be his last opportunity before they tee it up for the second major of the year, which I know we'll talk about. No,
Yeah.
did you see any other big takeaways from the tournament? I mean, it was
I
the
mean,
Scottie
just
Scheffler show.
yeah. Honestly, I was going back preparing for this episode. I really felt the field was lacking. I mean, I don't think the Byron Nelson is a signature event, but it is one of those events that everybody's playing, gearing up for a major. And I just feel like the field was a little lacking. Um, the field looks to be improving next week with the Truist, but I think it was, it's at the end of it, it's your above average spring tournament that usually has some pretty big names and maybe lacking on the field this year, but overall just very early to mid season tournament.
It felt weird. It felt like there was just and true. No offense to Sunjay M. He's the other top 20 player that was there, but the field was lacking depth. So it felt like it was Scottie and it was everybody else. But
Yeah.
what would the storyline be here today if Scottie hadn't won and he finished mid pack or even not mid pack on the leaderboard but didn't win? So it's almost like it was a no win situation. It was win or else, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
he chose. Well, we'll win, for
Well,
sure.
I think it goes to, because I spoke earlier on in the season on earlier episodes, that I think his hand injury really set him back going into the season, and I feel like, and I felt like then he's going to come back into form later on once he's had a chance to catch up to everybody else's time and practice, during this year,
Right.
and I feel like now is that time. Again, yes, he didn't have the caliber of opponents at that tournament, but I just don't see anybody shooting that low. And it looked almost boring to watch him play because he
Right.
just didn't miss. He just didn't miss fairways, and if he did, he had an amazing recovery shot, and he wasn't missing greens, and his putting strokes were perfect, and he was his even if he missed the putts, his lag putts were leaving him a couple feet to tap in. It was just incredible to watch, and I just don't think anybody else had that level or would have had that level this week, even if they showed up.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I think you're spot on. The two holes of his that I really actively watched on Saturday. We sat down to dinner, and it was I think it was 14, if that was the drivable par four, and you know I won't say he dang near holed out, but I mean it was a couple ball widths from
yeah,
rolling into the cup, and it goes up the hill, and he's got a 12-footer for eagle. Narrowly misses that. To call the birdie a tap in it's probably an exaggeration.
yeah,
And he follows it up on 15, which is the par three, and he knocks it to 4 feet. So to your point, man, that really shows that both sides of the game outside of putting are really working for him. If
yeah,
you can drive with that kind of precision and then follow it up with and that par three was a 4 iron for him, so it's not exactly an easy hole. So he had to uh, certainly reach out and get it, and then to add the putting,
it's
it's
insane.
it really is. When he's on, I think he reminded us all of last year. You don't forget who I am.
Yeah,
So uh, I I didn't really put that much onus on the hand injury. Obviously, it set him back. I mean, you guys are spot on, but
yeah,
I didn't necessarily think his woes right now or his lack of winning was due to the hand, but maybe it is, and maybe we're about to see him kind of reach out and uh, take back that mantle. And don't forget, I'm number one player in the world.
yeah. I think it was just the lack of reps. Everyone else came back into their training regimen earlier than he was able to.
Yeah,
And once he was able to get back into it, full swing, no pun intended, and get back to practice like he normally would to get to his level where he was last year, I mean, it's all he needed was the time. And we're going to see that. We're going to see that this weekend.
well, it's
Yeah.
hard to argue. That's sure. And this weekend, Noah, what were you gonna say, man?
No, nothing. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. Well, this
Uh,
weekend, it's kind of the other. It's the other side of that coin we have the Truist, and 9 out of the top 10 players, both in terms of the world golf rankings or this year's FedEx Cup. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference between those lists. 9 out of the top 10 are there. Scheffler's the only one missing, so Scheffler won't be there this week. He's going to take a week off, and I'll see you at Quail Hollow. The other 9 show up for this signature event. I think it's the 6th one of the season, and no cuts. Let's go all go play for a pile of money. But more importantly, let's get ready. For the second major, which is going to be the following week. So interesting turn of events, kind of to see Scheffler rest his case, and now everybody else will play in theirs. Noah, what do you see happening in the Truist? Obviously had to relocate it, usually at Quail Hollow. Now it's going to be at the Philadelphia Cricket Club because Quail Hollow is otherwise encumbered the following week. What do you expect to see?
I expect to see a good tournament. I've been to one of the relocated tournaments for Quail Hollow several years ago when Quail Hollow was still hosting the Wells Fargo. I think I relocated to TPC Potomac in Potomac, Maryland. And with that being like 20, 25 minutes away, I was able to go see that tournament. Generally, it's a good prep course as to what's going to be coming this summer with the PGA and the U.S. Open. Usually, it's got a lot of big name golfers and a lot of golfers going out there and going at it, and kind of really hitting mid season stride as we get into the late spring, early summer. I expect to see a lot of golfers coming out and trying stuff with their game, just getting ready for the major tournaments. With 9 of the top 10 players. I've got the field pulled up. I mean, it's a stacked field. It's a lot of different people that could win this tournament. So I just look forward to watching it.
That's true.
So
That's true. Speaking of past winners of the Truist Championship, and again, it's a little bit of a misnomer because it's at a different venue. Some people have won it twice. There's only one golfer that's won it 4 times. Izzy, want to take a guess who that is? I'll give you a hint. He most recently added a green jacket to his wardrobe.
That's got to be it's got to be Scheffler, and he's not there.
Well, it could be Rory.
Oh, did he win it 4 times?
yeah,
Rory
because
has won the Truist.
That should have been obvious. You teed it up for me, and I.
Yeah,
They
and
win all between the two of them. They all win the green jackets lately.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I thought it was a trick question because I almost said Rahm.
No, man. So Rory's won it 4 times, but that just goes to show how much he loves Quail Hollow, and he tore it apart. Last time he was there. So.
Yeah, that makes me very excited for next weekend.
It makes me anxious to see who is Rory McIlroy now that he's won the Masters. This will be the first chance that we really get to see him. I know we got to see him at the Zurich. That's a little different format. So,
I'll say this. I wasn't unimpressed with his performance at the Zurich. I just think the guys who won just played insane. I don't think it was like Rory and Lowry not playing well.
Right.
It was just I forget who won, but they were just making shit that they had no business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rory and Shane were 2 shots out of the lead in second. Maybe they were third, but
I think we got third.
three heading into Sunday, and they shot even par, and just everybody passed them. They finished 12th.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It's one round, and they're both responsible for that. But you listen to these experts, and some people are confident that this is going to free Rory up to go on a tear, and there are others that say that's going to kind of quench that desire, and now he's good. Shane Lowry himself has said it's all he's talked about for a decade. If I can just win the Masters, I'm good. But he's a competitor too. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like this weekend is going to let us know which way he fell.
Yeah. I agree with you because he'll have zero pressure in Quail Hollow, both in terms of forget the Grand Slam because he can only take care of that at Augusta, and he did that. But just the whole majors drought that we've been talking about now for 10 years, that's gone too. So
There is another slam he could
there
do this year.
there is, and we will get to that, man. But we still have Grand Slam watch coming up. But I'm anxious to see what happens at the Truist. No, there's no question about that. And you know, while we're talking about Rory and what we're going to see out of him, let's get to the PGA and talk about Quail Hollow a little bit. You want to talk about that guy who's going to have us on Grand Slam watch for at least the first day or two?
I mean, this is his tournament. I mean, he's won how many Wells Fargo championships at Quail Hollow? Um, I'm looking at the past results from the PGA when I was at Quail Hollow last time, and he had a top 10 finish. So
Yeah,
I definitely anticipate him putting on a show that next weekend. So, yeah, I guess it is next weekend.
anxious. And I'm thinking about Jordan Spieth. Spieth is playing better, and he'll be in the field this week in Philadelphia. But man, if he could somehow win the PGA, he completes the Grand Slam. We could have two Grand Slam champions added to that list in two tournaments. Probably seems a little less likely, but do you guys see? Is there any way Jordan Spieth wins the career Grand Slam after he leaves Quail Hollow?
No. And
No,
here's why. If 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 it wasn't at Quail Hollow, which it is, and Rory's going to be there, and his past at that course, and I think if Rory hadn't won the Masters, I think Rory winning the Masters is a bigger push towards, because if he doesn't win the Masters, I feel like he just collapses it's like yet another major, and he just mentally just is done.
Right.
But he wins. I think it frees him up. I think it's a course he's comfortable with. I think he's just gonna. I think his only real competition is going to be Scottie, and I think maybe Schauffele, if he can just show us some of that magic he had that it just disappeared seemingly overnight. Maybe I feel like he's a dark horse for me, but I don't think Spieth's ceiling is high enough
no,
to
yeah.
beat the other guys that are there. I'll just put it that way.
I mean, when was the last time we've truly seen his game dialed? Like he's coming down on a Saturday, and you're like, he's going to win tomorrow. I mean, it's been a decade.
He's had rounds where he's gone
Yeah,
insane,
Yeah.
but it's just not a weekend. He can't
no,
keep it together for the weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because he's really kind of become that golfer that will show you flashes of it. And I don't even know. I mean, obviously we do because of Sunday going 9 under at the Byron Nelson, but he shows you flashes within a round. He very seldom shows you an entire round where
Yeah.
he keeps it together, and much less to do it 4 rounds to complete the Grand Slam, where he's got to be feeling some pressure. I agree with you. It seems unlikely.
Yeah, it's just his ceiling isn't. If everyone's playing their best, he just isn't. He just doesn't have the competitive
Right.
ability that the other guys have. I just don't see it.
Well, how about another guy? We don't have to look very far. We just go to his good buddy JT, who, when he wins majors, he seems to only win PGAs since he has two of them.
I
And
feel
now
like
now he's won at Hilton Head, a few weeks ago.
yeah,
So, how do we feel about JT's chances going into Quail Hollow?
I think they're higher than Spieth's. I don't
yeah.
think they're very high, but I think they're higher than Spieth's, and not because I think JT's been showing some magic lately. I think he's been coming back into form a little bit. I just don't think his ceiling is even close to Scottie and Rory and some of the other guys that are in the field right now. I mean, I don't know what his current rank is, but it's not.
In the FedEx Cup, JT is actually third and was second until
But
Scheffler won this weekend, and Scheffler knocked him down to third, and Scheffler took over the number 2 spot. Rory's still in the lead. I'm talking about FedEx, not golf rankings.
I mean,
So
wait, Justin Thomas is ranked fifth.
yeah, in the world golf rankings,
Really?
he's
That
Scottie
is.
Scheffler. Yeah.
yeah,
Is that left over from like?
he's just kind of always been there. He had to break through at Hilton Head to to get that first victory in 3 years, but he's been in contention. He's been near the top. He's been relevant. So
I'll say this. I will. Let me reword what I was saying earlier. I didn't realize he was ranked so highly. I just looked it up, and he's fifth. That's honestly, I'm impressed given what I've seen out of him lately. I don't think he wins, but I could see him top 10 for sure. Very, very. I mean, I would not be surprised if he's top 10.
Yeah.
yeah, man, seems to be his tournament. He does very well at the Truist as well when it's at Quail Hollow. So we'll see what happens. No doubt about that. Anybody else?
I'm just looking at the top 10. I mean, Scheffler, McIlroy, obviously, Xander Schauffele, we've already said. If he got it together, he went. Colin Morikawa at 4. He's won a PGA. One of the better ball striking iron players on tour. Justin Thomas, Oberg, we're forgetting about him.
Yeah,
Uh,
Ludwig is kind of going crazy right now. I
Yeah,
feel like Morikawa's just doesn't have like that the X factor to close out a tournament.
yeah,
He's always playing so well until
yeah,
like Saturday, and then it's like late Saturday into Sunday he just doesn't. He just loses his momentum,
yeah.
and he just starts falling down the leaderboard. Not because he's dropping strokes, but because he's not gaining any.
yeah. I mean,
I
and
kind
then
of
you
see it
keep,
the other way around with Colin. I appreciate what you're saying. I won't argue with you,
Yeah,
but to me, it's like he's due. He's now Rory. You won a couple early. Rory won 3, and now it's been a little bit of a drought. You've kind of ebbed and flowed, but now I see him. He's back, man. He is doing everything right. And then I agree with you. I disagree with you until I agree with you. He's right there until at the end something keeps him from closing it out, and we've seen that a couple times recently. But I feel like there's still it's the turn of a screw, and he's going to be locked in and will be the guy. So I think he gets there sooner rather than later, and this won't be the one that gets him closer to a Grand Slam, but he's got 2 of the 4 that he needs. And then we haven't even talked about any of the live golfers. For all the people that love to say, live golf makes people soft, or live golfers don't show up at Augusta, or whatever the storyline people like to manufacture. Brooks Koepka has 3 PGAs, and Bryson DeChambeau just won in Korea on the live tour, and he has shown up the last 2 majors. So, those 2 guys would be my picks from the live side if we're going to see one, somebody, hoist it up, from the live tour. I think it kind of begins and ends with Bryson and Brooks, but you know, I expect them both to be right there.
yeah,
yeah. I think Bryson's like, what is he? He's ranked 13th on the PGA Tour while not playing any tournaments. So
Right.
the few that he plays, he just plays well, and he's got a ton of points out of it.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Well, you win a U.S. Open, and then you come back and you do pretty well at the Masters. Things have a way of working out for you. And he contended, uh, in the other 2 majors last year as well, at least for a short time.
I mean,
So it'll
but
be
you
interesting to
continue.
see.
I mean, you continue like these rankings. I mean, Justin Rose putting on that kind of performance at the Masters, he could very easily win a major.
No doubt,
So,
man. So he's finished, you know, second place. You know, what the last 2 majors, the Open Championship, and maybe he didn't finish second at the Open, but he was there on the last day. and then he certainly had a hell of a performance in Augusta. So he feels like whatever he's doing at 44 years old, he needs to just keep doing it, man, because he's about to make something happen. And
Yeah.
couldn't happen to a nicer guy either. That's what I think the gift of Full Swing on Netflix is for us, is that you get to relive last year, but you also get an in-depth look at all these great guys. Take another one, Gary Woodland, former U.S. Open champ, finished second recently at the Shell. So he's got an opportunity, to round back into shape. And if you watch Full Swing, his story with kind of the brain lesion that they had to take off. He's a hell of a guy, So to see him up and contending for a major would be fantastic. So a lot of great stuff coming along, man. And I think we're going to see a lights out tournament. If Scottie can just figure out how to get into the venue without getting arrested, I think he's going to be right there, as will all the other guys that we talked about.
Do you guys have a heart pick? Maybe not a serious contender, but someone who's not the top of the field, who you just, I mean, you already know mine. Mine's the same every tournament. But anybody sticks out that you're like, I hope that they maybe sneak one in?
No, you got anybody?
Not really. I want to see Rory go down there and throttle the field and move into the U.S. Open. So
yeah, if I had my choice, I want Rory to win so we can keep the Grand Slam conversation alive.
Yeah.
So that would be fantastic. Apart from that, if you told me Rory's not going to win it, I would like to see Spieth contend for a Grand Slam. I mean, I always liked the guy, and it would be nice to see him kind of come out of purgatory, if you will, and make it work. And then apart from that, I'm always going to be a Scheffler homer. So
yeah,
not exactly going deep into the field. I'll just say, those are my three guys that I tend to root for. And my brain says, keep putting your money on Oberg, because the man is going to break through, win a major, and it's not going to be very long.
Yeah.
So this might very well be Oberg's tournament. Quail Hollow is a great venue. It's not exactly Augusta or Bethpage Black on the difficult end of the spectrum. So your game has to be precise, but that's every tournament they play.
Yeah.
But Quail Hollow could very well be a place that Oberg says, I'll take one if you don't mind.
Well, I guess we'll see. My main hope for this weekend, or my main expectation this weekend, is just to see where everyone is pre the U.S. Open, because the Truist is going to give us a good eye into where everyone's game is, where their confidence is, what looks good, what doesn't. Because they're going to finish Sunday and probably fly out that night and go straight to Quail Hollow to get ready for the practice rounds.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, this is kind of, and I agree with you, man. This is the time of year. I always get excited when we start seeing, when they get to the Florida swing and they do the Players, Bay Hill, opposite order. And, that's when the season really starts kind of getting some lifeblood in it, and it all builds toward Augusta. And all that's wonderful. But it's once we get to the PGA, and then it just seems like it's the PGA, the U.S. Open, the Open Championship, the FedEx Cup, come in rapid fire succession.
Yeah.
And this year, I think we're going to have the added benefit, as we do every other year, with guys really trying to play and accrue points because they want that Ryder Cup nod. And the best way to get in the Ryder Cup is being a top six, right? So we're going to continue to see those elevated events really be thick, as we would expect. But they're going to be thick with talent, with those Ryder Cup automatic berths there. And,
Yeah.
That to me, this is when it really gets rolling, and we really get to see some fantastic golf. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, you don't have half the field taking a break every other weekend.
Yeah, that it's kind of sad. I mean, I know this week, is it this week or next week they play that tournament in Myrtle Beach?
it's this week. It's this
I think
week.
it's this week.
Yeah.
So we kind of got, I won't even say a split field, but you got kind of the other opportunity for folks to do that. You know, it's kind of rough when you have some of those tournaments that people aren't going to show up for. So it seems like it's kind of prime time, May to July, and we're going to have 8 solid weeks of golf here between here and the Open Championship. No
Yeah,
doubt.
I'm looking at the Myrtle Beach, and I don't see anybody I recognize.
Yeah. I haven't even looked. Are the creators doing a tournament to get a berth like they did last year? I don't know
I
if
don't,
the YouTube creators are doing
let's
that, but
see, Myrtle Beach.
they did that last year. It was several of the Corn Ferry guys and the YouTube creators. They didn't call it the Creator Classic. I don't believe it was something else. But
No, I remember that though. I don't think they're doing anything this year.
the winner got the slot, and George Bryan took it down to the last hole, but one of the Corn Ferry guys just closed him out and got the berth. So I don't know that they're doing that this year, but that would be fun to watch. That's always a good little thing to see. That's kind of the first time all the YouTubers came together for something amazing last year, and I thought it was fun to watch.
Hey,
Yeah. Well, guys, we say we put the final touches on this, put the ribbon on it, and get out there with a little bit of sunlight, man. Might be able to hit a range session or something good.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my dog's really excited to go outside. There is something in the backyard that needs to be chased.
So are mine.
They hear each other.
Gentlemen,
Well, this won't be golf related, but in the late morning tomorrow morning, I'll jump on a plane and I'm heading north to Boston, and Noah and I will be reunited. But it's not to play golf; it's to take care of a couple other things. But a lot of golf in our future. The Gauze Classic, or whatever he wants to call it, the Bandit Open gets played in 2 weeks. Maybe
It's gonna be right up there with the bloody. It's gonna be right up there with the bloody sock game. I'm just saying.
The blood is right up there. Right?
Bleeding through golf gloves, still playing.
I love it. Yeah, it'll be a Netflix special one day. Forget Shill getting stitched up and going out there and taking care of business. Game 6 and 04. Did you see what No did with like mittens for hands out there playing 3 epic courses in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina?
Yeah.
That's it. I love it.
Alrighty,
We'll see what
gentlemen.
happens,
Yeah.
man. We'll be here to report on it. Well, guys, enjoy it. Izzy, let's try to get some swings in this weekend if it works out.
Yeah, I'm free. I'm free Saturday morning, I believe, and potentially Sunday morning as well. So either one, I'm good.
Well, apparently I'm walking into a bloodbath the following week, so I better get something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Until next time, everybody watching, like, subscribe, tell your friends about us. We appreciate the attention and the support. And
Absolutely, man. Share this with one person,
yeah,
and they will thank you for finding the Swing Collective. I promise you.
yeah. See you guys next week.
See everybody next week.